Oh, it's cool in here.
Huh?
This is not original air conditioning.
If last person entering, you kindly close the door. I'd appreciate it.
I'm a dad. I know
you're
all
a
about
dad?
that.
You used to closing the door?
There's the light
Okay.
switches.
All right. We don't have any. You're all right. All righty. It's rather surprising, isn't it? This wallpaper is replicated for us by the original wallpaper company. They were still in business in England when we brought this house back to its 18th century appearance, and they reproduced it for us using the original wood printing block. So you're looking at 18th century wallpaper made new again. Now, if you folks were here for some kind of entertainment, the first room they would usher you into would, in all likelihood, would be that room right there. That's what you would call your living room. They call the parlor. And similar to your living room, it's a place for all manner of entertainments: drinking, dancing, gambling, playing board games, musical instruments, reading plays and poetry out loud. Sometimes they resort to polite conversation. I'm serious.
Okay, where are we going?
To the end of this green to the right, and then all the way down to the left. I want to see the chariot. It's not a chariot, it's a carriage.
What are we going to see?
It's a courthouse. This is what people use for school.
Gesto d'opposizione lo fai sono giochi da qua, in original French. But still, the point is that we would all be speaking some colonial dialect of French, if not for the fact that brave young men marching off to go fight bears and mountains, whatever else are up there.
Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to the James City County Courthouse. This is one of our 88 original buildings here at Colonial Williamsburg. It was built in 1770 and used as a courthouse up to the 1930s. They got the money's worth out of it. There was a bad fire here in 1911. The inside was destroyed, the outside walls remained intact, so they restored it. 1932, Colonial Williamsburg will take this over. Why to these gentlemen? They must be of the gentry class. You're wealthy, got land barons and plantation owners. They don't have to work for a living. Got all the money they need. They have time to their civic duty. They take it quite seriously. And these men here are not trained, nor are they educated in the law. They picked to their wisdom and their money. By the same token, we don't pay them anything either, so we don't have to pay them for knowing nothing, right? But somebody here has to know something about the law. That's the gentleman who sits at this table right here, the court clerk. He's the only professional here. He's past this, the bar of the King's Justice. Only officers of the court are allowed on this side of the bar. They take that quite seriously. Protecting the bar is the gentleman who sits in this box right here. He is the sheriff. He is one of these justices who's down off the bench and takes his job on for a year. He has to order fines handed down by the court. He orders punishments handed down by the court. He orders taxes be collected in the county for the year. He orders juries if they need it. And there's going to be an election for the House of Burgesses. He runs the election for the county. You know, notice I kept using the word order. You never do a job, you can get somebody else to do it for you. That's the gentleman who sits in that box over there. He is the undersheriff, or deputy bailiff. He's an ordinary citizen hired by the sheriff to collect those fines, to collect those taxes, carry out those punishments. We're all going to hate him, but he's the one who ordered it. Right? Now, the justices are all assembled. The senior justice says, Mr. Clark, do we have a docket? Yes, Your Honor, we have a docket. Mr. Sheriff, call His Majesty's court to order. He takes this big stick, which is the symbol of his office. It's called a tipstaff. Has many uses. If someone tries to approach the bench when they're not supposed to, he can block them with this. If someone's talking out of turn, he can pop it with this. Right? Keep the order in the court. And he has one over there too. But the main thing though is to call the court to order. Yea, oh yea, oh yea. Silence is commanded while His Majesty's court is sitting upon pain of imprisonment. Any and all persons having anything to do with this court, draw near and give attendance. If you have any complaints to make a suit to prosecute, come forward and ye shall be heard. God save the King. And you answer? One or two subjects and loyal subjects in here, but we'll have the rest of you. Folks, this is 1774. Your country doesn't exist yet. It's okay to be a British subject today. British subjects enjoyed more rights, more privileges, more freedoms than any other king in the world at the time. It was good to be a British subject. The trouble was, they were treating us over here in America as equal British subjects, and that's where the rub began. The cooler heads prevailed, and they never do. Might still be saying, God save the Queen today, but it didn't turn out that way. So let's try this again, shall we? God save the King.
God save the King.
They are now standing trial. Any witness who comes forward will also stand right here in front of the bar. They are taking the stand. And where you are seated right now, you would not be, you'd be standing. They don't provide benches. If you want to come and watch the trials, you can, but you have to stand. And they did come. You got to realize, this is high entertainment here in the 18th century. Coming here, watch trials. Oh, we're no different. We have Judge Judy, Law and Order, Court TV. Anyway, you folks will be called bystanders, not by-sitters. Behind the jail building in the passage in the back, do an example back there of the type of gallows they used to hang people. That's not where they hang them. We found out the actual spot, about a mile down the road from there, where the Department of Motor Vehicles is today. There's still people hanging around there today, too. But there was a third possibility, though. For certain crimes, you're given mercy from the court. They call it benefit of clergy. Let's say you steal a valuable watch. That's grand larceny. That's a hangable offense. But the judges might give you mercy. You kill somebody at a tavern fight. You punch somebody in the nose. He falls back, he hits his head and dies. As involuntary manslaughter, you're given mercy from the court. Steal a horse? No mercy whatsoever. You're going to hang for stealing a horse. Pirate? Do we give a pirate a second chance? What do you think? No. But if you are given mercy, that means you're free to go. Don't ever do it again. But before you go, we do have a lovely parting gift for you. These are branding irons. This has the letter T on it for thief. This has the letter M for manslaughter. On sentencing day, they're kept here in the courtroom and a bucket of red-hot coals. If you're given mercy by the court, the jailer down in the general court, or the undersheriff here, is going to take this and burn this into the palm of your left hand. You will now have that letter scarred on your hand for the rest of your life. But you're free to go. Slave goes back to his master. It's better than hanging. But if you ever come back to the court again and you have that scar, you're convicted of any felony crime the second time, you will hang regardless of the crime. There are no long-term prisons. Anything over a year in jail, they consider to be cruel and unusual punishment. You know what the most common crime in the county court was? Non-attendance at church. There's no separation of church and state here. The Church of England is the government-sponsored religion. You had to belong to it by law. You're required by law to go to church once a month. Miss 2 months ago, you had to come to court and pay a fine. If you profess to be a Catholic, a Baptist, or any unlicensed denomination, you lose all your rights as an Englishman. And you're required by law to pay a tithe to the church. Nothing more than a tax to support it. The Freedom of Religion Act of 1786 will dispense all that, a person can worship any way they choose. If you can't pay a fine, or if you refuse to pay a fine, corporal punishment becomes the last resort. Outside this building are 3 apparatus of punishment. There is the whipping post, hook you up to the whipping post, expose you bare back, then you put them on the lash upon it. It's not going to kill you, it's meant to humiliate you, but it's going to hurt. We give it anywhere from 10 to 39 lashes on your bare back. Let's say you did something really bad, and they give you the full 39, hook you up, and after about 20 lashes, you start fainting and passing out from the pain. Oh, they'll stop. They'll cut you down. They'll let you go home. Come back next week, and we'll give you the 19, and come on back. They're very accommodating here in the 18th century, you can see. The pillory. That's when they lock your head and your hands in a comfortable position. That's an instrument of shame and humiliation. You've done something disgraceful, and they place you out there, and your friends, neighbors, and relatives come around and insult you, throw things at you, and call your names. The 2 most serious crimes of the pillory would be forgery and perjury. Forgery is when you sign your name to something you're not supposed to, representing yourself to somebody else. That's forgery, okay? Perjury is when you place your hand on the Bible and swear to tell the truth in court. And then you tell a lie. First of all, you now place your soul in danger of eternal damnation. And you committed a crime, all right? If you're convicted of perjury, it's 6 months in jail. But to get out of jail, you have to pay a fine of 20 pounds sterling silver, not tobacco, silver. Most people can't pay that. If you cannot pay that, they place you in the pillory for several hours with your ears nailed to the board behind you. 1 hour on each ear, then to get the nail off, they're going to cut your ear or slit it, and now you are earmarked as a liar and a cheat for the rest of your life. Now, on May 15, 1776, Virginia declares its independence. All right, we're independent. What laws are we going to go by? I don't know. All we know is British common law. So guess what? They kept British common law. A lot of good things about British common law. 2 things we still hold sacred today: that you're innocent until proven guilty, with a right to trial by jury.
How's Williamsburg been?
It is awesome. It's so cool looking, and I like seeing all these like cool old buildings and like seeing how people made stuff 200 years ago. It's just so cool.
Out of all the things that you've learned about like the court system and history, did anything stick out to you?
I didn't like the part where they nailed people's ears to a board.
Earmarks.
Yeah.
Yep. So earmarks have always been bad.
Yes.
Still are bad. Awesome.
Was appointed. So it's a governor's palace because they're appointed by the king, and so they're still, because it's still a British colony. We haven't had the revolution and independence yet.
So the moral of the story is pay attention in history class.
Yes.